In the heart of Borno State, where the scorching sun meets the golden sands and the wind carries tales of ancient times, lies the village of Damasak, known for its vibrant markets brimming with spices and fabrics. Damasak was a small but lively settlement where life moved to the rhythm of pounding millet in the early morning. The village nestled near the shores of Lake Chad carried within it a history as vast and deep as the lake itself. Among the villagers was a young man named Hassan, tall and lean, with skin as dark as the fertile soil of the land. Hassan was known for his wit and charm. By day, he was a fisherman, skillfully navigating the waters of Lake Chad in his wooden canoe. By night, he was transformed into a storyteller, captivating the villagers around the central fire with tales of bravery, love, and adventure. But there was one story he kept close to his heart, a story that was still unfolding in his own life. It was the story of Amina, the daughter of the village chief. Amina was the epitome of beauty in Damasak. Her eyes sparkled like the stars above the desert, and her laughter was as sweet as the scent of baobab trees that lined the village. She was intelligent, graceful, and kind-hearted, qualities that endeared her to everyone. From the moment Hassan first laid eyes on her, he knew she was the one he loved. But as the daughter of Chief Bakura, Amina was considered out of reach, especially for someone like Hassan, a humble fisherman. The village elders had already begun to speak of her marriage to a wealthy trader or a renowned warrior. Hassan knew his chances were slim, but he was not one to give up easily. As the festival of the Gomsu approached, excitement buzzed through the village. The festival marked the end of dry season and was a time for dancing, feasting, and celebrating the harvest. More importantly, it was a time when young men and women could declare their love, and sometimes marriages were arranged. Hassan had been preparing for this festival for months. He knew it might be his only chance to win Amina's heart. He had carved a beautiful necklace from the ivory of a tortoise he found near the lake, a delicate piece that he hoped would convey the depth of his feelings. Yet, he knew that presenting such a gift without the chief's permission could be seen as a grave offense. On the day of the festival, the village was transformed into a sea of colors. Women wore their finest wrappers and headscarves, while men donned their best robes. The air was filled with the sound of drums and the scent of roasted lamb. Everyone was in high spirits, but Hassan's heart pounded with anxiety. That evening, as the festivities reached their peak, the village gathered around a great bonfire for the dance of the maidens. Amina, dressed in a stunning blue wrapper that matched her eyes, took center stage. Her movements were graceful, her smile enchanting, and Hassan felt his heart ache with longing. As the dance concluded, it was time for the young men to present their tokens of love. One by one, they approached the maidens with gifts, bracelets, anklets, and finely woven clothes. Hassan watched from the shadows, clutching the necklace he had made. He hesitated, knowing that stepping forward would mean disaster, but something deep within him, a voice as old as the desert sounds, urged him on. Taking a deep breath, Hassan stepped into the circle. Gasps echoed through the crowd as they recognized him. All eyes were on him as he walked up to Amina, who looked at him with a mixture of surprise and curiosity. With a steady hand, he offered her the necklace. "Amina," he began, his voice steady despite the turmoil within, "I have nothing to offer you but my heart. This necklace is a small token of my love, carved with my own hands. I know I am not worthy, but if you will have me, I will spend the rest of my days proving my love to you." The crowd fell silent. For a moment, it seemed as though time itself had stopped. Amina looked at the necklace, then at Hassan. Her expression was unreadable, and Hassan feared the worst. But then she smiled, a smile so warm and genuine that it melted the tension in the air. "I accept your gift, Hassan," she said, softly placing the necklace around her neck, "and your love." The crowd erupted in cheers and applause, but the moment of joy was short-lived. Chief Bakura, who had been watching from his seat, rose to his feet. The smile vanished from Amina's face as her father's stern gaze fell upon her and Hassan. Chief Bakura was a man of few words, but when he spoke, his voice commanded attention. He was known for his fairness, but also for his unwavering adherence to tradition. As he stepped forward, the villagers fell silent once more. Hassan, the chief began, his tone calm but edged with authority. You have shown great courage tonight, but courage alone does not make a man suitable for my daughter. You are a fisherman, and while your trade is honorable, it is not enough for the daughter of a chief. Hassan bowed his head, his heart sinking. He had known this was coming, but it did not make the words any less painful. However, Chief Bakura continued, a flicker of something in his eyes that Hassan could not quite explain. I am not an unreasonable man. I will give you a chance to prove yourself worthy of Amina. Hassan's head snapped up, hope rekindling in his chest. What must I do, Chief? The chief paused, then spoke with deliberation. There is a task that needs to be done, a task that no one in this village has yet succeeded in. To the east of Lake Chad, beyond the borders of our land, lies the cursed forest of Kirin. It is said that deep within this forest, there is a tree that bears golden fruits. Bring me one of these fruits, and I will consider your request. A murmur of fear rippled through the crowd. The forest of Kirin was a place shrouded in dark legends. Many had ventured into its depths, but none had returned. It was said to be home to ancient spirits and creatures that defied human understanding. But Hassan did not flinch. He knew this was his only chance, and he was willing to risk everything for Amina. I will bring you the golden fruit, Chief, he said with determination. Amina's eyes filled with fear, and she grasped Hassan's arm. Hassan, you cannot go. The forest is too dangerous. But Hassan gently took her hand, looking deep into her eyes. I must, Amina. For you, I would face any danger. Chief Bakura nodded, a look of approval in his eyes. You have until the next full moon, Hassan. May the spirits guide you. The next morning, Hassan set out on his journey. The villagers gathered to set him off, their faces a mix of admiration and pity. Amina stood at the edge of the crowd, her eyes red from a sleepless night of worry. She had given Hassan a small charm, blessed by the village shaman to protect him on his journey. Please come back to me, Hassan, she whispered as they embraced. I will, he promised, holding her close before turning to face the unknown. The journey to the forest of Kirin was long and arduous. Hassan traveled for days, crossing rivers and deserts, guided only by the stars and his determination. As he approached the borders of the cursed forest, the landscape began to change. The air grew thick with strange oppressive energy, and the once clear skies were now shrouded in dark clouds. The trees of Kirin loomed ahead, their twisted branches like skeletal fingers reaching out to the sky. The forest was eerily silent, with no sign of life, no birds, no insects, not even the rustle of leaves in the wind. It was as if the very essence of life had been drained from the land. Hassan stilled himself and entered the forest. The path was treacherous, with roots that seemed to move of their own accord, trying to trip him at every step. Shadows danced at the edge of his vision, and strange whispers filled the air, speaking in languages long forgotten. But Hassan pressed on, his thoughts focused on Amina. He navigated through the dense underbrush, avoiding the traps laid by the forest malevolent spirits. As night fell, the darkness became absolute, and the forest seemed to come alive with a presence that watched his every move. Exhausted and weary, Hassan stumbled upon a clearing. In the center stood a massive tree, its bark golden and glowing faintly in the darkness. The tree was unlike anything Hassan had ever seen. Its branches bore large, luminous fruits that shone like the sun. He had found the tree of golden fruits, but as he approached, the ground beneath him began to tremble. The tree's roots twisted and inverted, rising from the earth to form a towering figure, a guardian of the tree. Its body made of wood and stone, with eyes that burned with an ancient fire. Who dares to disturb the tree of life? The guardian's voice rumbled like thunder. Hassan stepped forward, his heart pounding. I am Hassan of Damasak. I seek one of your fruits, your golden fruits, to prove my worth to the woman I love. The guardian's eyes narrowed. Many have come before you with such desires, but none have succeeded. What makes you think you are worthy? Hassan met the guardian's gaze, his voice unwavering. I have nothing to offer but my love and determination. I am willing to risk my life to prove myself. For a moment, the guardian was silent. Then it spoke again, its tone softer. Love is a powerful force, but it is not enough on its own. To claim the fruit, you must answer a riddle. Fail and your life is forfeit. Hassan nodded, ready to face whatever challenge lay ahead. What is the riddle? The guardian's eyes glowed brighter as he spoke. I am not alive, yet I grow. I don't have lungs, but I need air. I don't have a mouth, and I can drown. But water is my food. What am I? Hassan frowned, thinking hard. The riddle was cryptic, but he knew that the answer was vital to his success. He paced the clearing, going over the riddle in his mind. I am not alive, yet I grow, he muttered to himself. I don't have lungs, but I need air. I don't have mouth, and I can drown. Suddenly it clicked. Hassan's face lit up with realization. Fire, he exclaimed. The answer is fire. The guardian was silent for a long moment. Then it slowly nodded. You have answered correctly, Hassan of Damasak. You have proven your wit and your courage. You may take one fruit. With a sense of triumph, Hassan approached the tree and carefully picked a golden fruit. It was warm to the touch, and as he held it, he felt a surge of energy coursing through him. Thank you, he said to the guardian, who merely nodded before sinking back into the earth, its form dissolving into the roots once more. Hassan's journey back to Damasak was swift, as if the forest of Kirin itself had granted him safe passage after his victory. The oppressive atmosphere lifted, and the whispers in the air became faint, almost encouraging. The golden fruit seemed to light its way, its glow a beacon in the darkness. When he finally emerged from the forest, Hassan was greeted by the spirit of the rising sun, its rays bathing the land in a warm golden light. He had done it. He had succeeded where so many had failed. But now he faced the greatest challenge of all, convincing Chief Bakura to honor his word. The journey back to Damasak took another few days, but Hassan was driven by the thought of seeing Amina again. As he approached the village, he was met with gasps of surprise and relief from the villagers who had feared the worst. Word of his return spread quickly, and by the time he reached the chief's compound, a crowd had gathered. Chief Bakura stood at his entrance, his expression unreadable. Amina was beside him, her eyes wide with hope and fear. Hassan approached them, holding the golden fruit aloft. I have returned, Chief, Hassan said, his voice steady. I bring you the golden fruit from the forest of Kirin, as you requested. The chief stared at the fruit for a long moment, then looked at Hassan with an expression of deep respect. You have done the impossible, Hassan. You have proven yourself worthy of my daughter. A cheer erupted from the crowd, but Hassan's attention was focused solely on Amina, whose face had broken into a radiant smile. She ran to him and they embraced, their hearts filled with joy and relief. But before they could celebrate, Chief Bakura raised his hand and the crowd fell silent. There is one more thing, Hassan, he said, his tone grave. The golden fruit is not just a symbol. It has a power that must be respected. The fruit is said to be grant a single wish to whoever consumes it. But be warned, wishes made in haste can have their consequences. Hassan looked at the fruit in his hand, its golden glow now seeming both beautiful and dangerous. He had not expected this twist, but he knew what he had to do. Amina, he said, turning to her, this fruit was brought for you. Whatever you wish, it is yours to command. Amina hesitated, the weight of the decision clear in her eyes. She looked at Hassan, then at her father, and finally at the fruit. I wish, she began slowly, for a life of happiness and love, free from the burdens of fear and tradition. As soon as the words left her lips, the golden fruit dissolved into a simmering mist, which enveloped both Amina and Hassan. The mist swelled around them, filling the air with a warm, comforting light. When it finally dissipated, the villagers gasped in awe. Hassan and Amina stood before them not just as a couple, but as equals. The chief's stern demeanor softened and he nodded approvingly. You have chosen wisely, my daughter. Your wish is granted. From this day forward, let no one stand in the way of your happiness." The following days in Damasak were filled with celebrations. The story of Hassan's bravery and Amina's wise wish spread throughout the region, becoming a legend in its own right. The festival of Gumsu, once a time of anxiety and unspoken tension for the young lovers, was now remembered as the beginning of a new era for the village. A time when love triumphed over tradition. Hassan and Amina were married in a ceremony that brought together the entire village. The chief, who had once been so rigid in his ways, presided over the union with a smile. It was clear that he had grown to respect Hassan, not just as a suitor for his daughter, but as a man who had proven his worth through actions, not just words. Life in Damasak continued, but with a renewed sense of unity and purpose. The curse of the Kirin forest was no longer spoken of in hushed, fearful tones. Instead, it was remembered as the place where Hassan had won his bride and where a golden fruit had granted a wish that changed everything. Hassan returned to his life as a fisherman, but he was no longer just a simple man from the village. He was respected by all, not only for his bravery, but for his humility and wisdom. Amina too found her place, not just as the daughter of the chief, but as a woman who had shaped her own destiny. Together they lived in harmony, their love growing stronger with each passing day. And so, the tale of Hassan and Amina became part of the oral tradition of Borno, passed down from generation to generation. It was a story that reminded the people of the power of love, the importance of courage, and the wisdom of choosing one's path in life. As the years went by, Damasak flourished. The village became known not just for its markets and festivals, but for its people who valued love and wisdom above all else. And in the evenings, as the sun set over Lake Chad, the villagers would gather around the fire to hear the story once more. The story of the fisherman who dared to dream, the maiden who chose love, and the golden fruit that granted them both a life of happiness. Years passed and Hassan and Amina grew old together, their love never fading. They had children and grandchildren, each one raised with the story of the golden fruit, a story that taught them to be brave, to think carefully about their choices, and to value love above all else. When Hassan and Amina finally passed on, it was said that the village mourned for a year, but their legacy lived on. The village of Damasak continued to prosper, a beacon of hope and love in the heart of Borno. And somewhere deep in the forest of Kirin, the tree of golden fruits continued to grow, its fruit glowing softly in the darkness, waiting for the next brave soul who would seek its power, guided by love and the wisdom to use it well. Hope you enjoy this. Thank you.